coach for the New York Jets embraced another fun way to cheat at pigskin, tripping opponents like a schoolyard bully. In a game against the Miami
That's
Dolphins,
dirty.
Jets strength and conditioning coach Sal Alosi decided to give his team an advantage by injuring the closest Dolphin. So he stuck his knee out onto the field, tripping Dolphins quarterback Nolan Carroll and sending him tumbling to the
nigga
turf.
dirty.
Niggas tryna shine, but they diamonds fake. Fuck off my.
What's poppin', YouTube? We back with another reaction video, you dig. Today, we reacting to the top 10 athletes who got caught cheating on live TV. It seems like it's gonna be amazing. But yeah, before we get started, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Comment down below which sports videos y'all want me to react to or sports stories y'all want me to cover. Yeah. Let's get right to it.
Despite what some fans may think, cheating in sports isn't limited to the teams or athletes they hate. Many look for any advantage they can get, and if that means bending or breaking the rules, so be it. But plenty get caught while doing so, and sometimes their cheating ways get exposed on live TV in front of everyone. Consequences varied, except for the court of public opinion deciding in each case that the athlete
Hell, is that on his own?
foolish trying to sneak around the rulebook. Here are 10 athletes across the sports spectrum who tried to cheat and got caught in front of millions, thanks to the magic of live television. The sport of cricket doesn't often deal with crazy scandals, until March 2018 anyway. That was when several members of the men's Australian cricket team got caught cheating and sent the entire squad's reputation through the shredder. During a match against South Africa, television cameras caught Aussie bowler Cameron Bancroft appearing to rub the ball with some strange substance, which turned out to be sandpaper. Umpires were notified and confronted him.
What?
They didn't penalize him since he hadn't gotten around to messing with the ball in any influential
Wait, they did
way.
that on
But
TV?
he tried to, and he wasn't
Oh,
alone.
wow.
It soon came out that team captains Steve Smith and David Warner ordered Bancroft to rub the ball with sandpaper, thereby making it easier to swing the ball. This is essentially cricket speak for a curveball. After a brief investigation,
Yeah, he tried to rub it on his
phone
nuts.
call from the Aussie Prime Minister, Cricket Australia doled out their punishments. Since they were the brains behind the operation, Smith and Warner received 1-year bans from professional cricket and lost 100% of their pay for the game in question. Bancroft didn't get off scot-free, receiving a 9-month suspension and losing 75% of his game money. He only returned to pro cricket in December 2018. Then there's the coach, Darren Lemon, who was found to have taken no part in the scandal and received no punishment, except from himself. He resigned as coach, declaring that Aussie cricket needed to move forward. It's hard to do that when a coach who lost control to such a degree sticks around, even after the cheaters sat on the
How many of y'all
sidelines.
play cricket or ever played cricket? Oh, they got my nigga Sammy.
As much as baseball fans loved the late 90s home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, both players have essentially been blackballed from the sport for using performance-enhancing drugs to boost their power. But I'm not talking about that, since Sosa certainly wasn't dumb enough to do steroids on camera. However, in June 2003, he was caught red-handed with a cheat that only added to his rapidly crumbling reputation. After hitting a ball hard enough to break his bat, umpires noticed cork popping out of the bat. Corked bats are notorious for making it easier to hit for power and are completely against the rules. Sosa was immediately ejected, becoming only the 6th player since 1970 to get caught using a corked bat. He later earned an 8-game suspension for his offense, tied for the longest cork-related punishment in history.
Wow.
Sosa later appealed the suspension down to 7
cheating
games,
ass
as
Sammy
officials
Sosa.
accepted his claim that he mistakenly used a practice bat he had corked to look cool for the crowd during pre-game warm-ups. His seeming sincerity, coupled with the tests of 76 of Sosa's bats finding 0 cork among them, convinced the powers that be that Sosa didn't mean to cheat. But who knows if that's
right.
true? It's all but accepted he cheated to hit all those home runs.
Yeah,
Once
right.
you see one corked bat,
That nigga's a liar. Fucking it. He's a liar.
it's hard not to suspect he's been corking throughout his career. We may never know for sure, though considering
'Cause none of his
Sosa's
bats
still
ever
in the Hall
broke,
of
that's
Fame and
why.
likely never will be, the court of public opinion has clearly found him guilty on all accounts. In recent years, cheating in football has largely been centered around the usage of PEDs, skis, deflated footballs, and spying on teams during practice. But in 2010, a coach for the New York Jets embraced another fun way to cheat at pigskin, tripping opponents like a schoolyard bully. In a game against the Miami
That's
Dolphins,
dirty.
Jets strength and conditioning coach Sal Alosi decided to give his team an advantage by injuring the closest Dolphin. So he stuck his knee out onto the field, tripping Dolphins quarterback Nolan Carroll and sending him tumbling to the
nigga
turf.
dirty.
He wasn't hurt much and actually returned to the game later on.
That's
Wound up
dirty.
being a terrible look for Alosi
How you
and the
just
Jets.
tripping
The
niggas?
CBS commentators remarked that this is just uncalled for in the NFL.
How you just
That
trip
whoever
a nigga
Carroll
run
should be
down the
ashamed of
sideline?
themselves.
That's
They
foul.
were, as Alosi quickly admitted it was him, and that
You
he
a
tripped
hoe.
Carroll on purpose.
That nigga a hoe.
It was a total lapse
You a
in
hoe.
judgment, and that
He
he was
a-
willing
you
to
a hoe,
accept whatever
nigga. You's a
punishment
hoe,
the team
bro.
deemed necessary. Wound up being a doozy of a punishment. Alosi found himself suspended for the rest of the season, including
Yeah, I
the
bet he
playoffs,
deserved
where
to
the
get
Jets made
suspended
the
for the
AFC
rest of the season.
Championship. He was also fined $25,000.
He coulda hurt that
resigned from
nigga.
the Jets in January 2011 and hasn't worked in the NFL since. Oh, and the Jets lost that game appropriately enough.
And you niggas lost.
Soccer is as much theater as it is a sport, judging by how many players attempt to gain an advantage through flopping, or acting like contact hurt way more than it actually did. If successful, the other team gets penalized and the suddenly healthy player gets up and keeps on playing. However, a successful flop should be somewhat based on
Oh,
reality,
what the
something
fuck?
Brazil's Rivaldo Ferreira didn't even
Why
attempt
he
in
just
June
kicked it like
2002.
that?
In a game against Turkey,
Oh,
Turkish
wow.
player Hakan Unsal kicked the ball toward Ferreira. The ball only hit his shin, but Ferreira decided to act otherwise. He collapsed to the ground, screaming and holding his face. The officials, seeing Ferreira in such supposed pain, ejected Unsal from the game and slapped Turkey with a penalty. Such antics may well have helped the Brazilians win the match 2-1. But Ferreira apparently
Oh,
forgot
wow.
instant replay and giant screens exist, because shortly after the penalty, the stadium screen replayed the incident, clearly showing the ball didn't come remotely close to Ferreira's face.
Oh,
He
wow.
couldn't deny anything and thus admitted to the cheat. Though he peppered his admission with a healthy
That
dash of
nigga act like he got
remorseless
hit in his
victim flavor.
face.
As he explained,
That
the
nigga
ball
hella
touched my
funny.
leg, but the other player was still wrong to kick the ball at me. I said sorry to him, but
So?
that's football. It may not have hit my face, but the Turkish player should not have done that in the first place. FIFA wasted little time in punishing Ferreira, though they didn't go very far. They merely fined him 11,500 Swiss francs, which is
How
roughly
much
the
is
same
that?
amount in US dollars.
Oh,
If you're
for real?
wondering why flopping keeps happening in soccer, wrist slap punishments like that might well be why.
Soccer
You're a
nigga.
casual soccer fan,
Another
you've
soccer
probably heard
nigga.
about the hand of God. But here's the entire story behind one of the most famous goals and one of the most famous cheats of all time. Argentina and England met in the quarterfinals of the 1986 World Cup. After 51 scoreless minutes, Argentina's Diego Maradona kicked the ball toward England's goal, where goalkeeper Peter Shilton was waiting to knock the ball away. He, as a goalkeeper, could use his hands to do that. Maradona, as a striker, could not, but he did so anyway. As Shilton went to punch the ball away from the goal, Maradona leapt into the air and punched it back in.
That
The
nigga
referee
punched
somehow
it?
didn't see the cheat and allowed the goal to stand, starting Argentina on
Oh,
a path
wow.
to a 2-1 win and eventual World Cup championship victory over Mexico.
Oh,
Post-match,
wow.
Maradona was asked about the goal, since replays clearly showed he used his hands.
These
He
some
claimed the
cheating
goal
ass
happened
niggas.
thanks to a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. Giving rise to the
Fucking
term hand of God. Years later, in 2005, Maradona admitted he did it on purpose and knew immediately.
Yeah, we
he had
know you
cheated.
did it on
In fact,
purpose.
he told USA Today he needed his team to help him distract the referee afterward, explaining, "I was waiting for my teammates to embrace me and no one came. I told them, come hug me or the referee isn't going to allow it." Maradona was swiftly punished for both cheating and manipulating the official by getting away with absolutely everything. It's never smart to cheat during a marathon or triathlon. There are cameras and data everywhere, and even without that, all officials need to do is look at someone's time to see if their accomplishment seems on the up and up. In the case of Julie Miller, she wasn't even close.
What did she
Miller
do?
came out of seemingly nowhere to win Ironman Canada in July 2015.
What did
This
she
made
do?
no sense to the other runners, particularly super athlete Suzanne Davis, who was favored to win and had eyewitnesses aplenty insisting she had. No one, meanwhile, had seen Miller in the lead ever, except suddenly she was first past the marathon finish line. Something seemed fishy, especially since Miller didn't stick around to shake hands or anything. It was almost like she wanted to disappear as quickly as she appeared. Davis and her fellow runners conducted an investigation, studying photographs, videos, and official time data, along with interviewing eyewitnesses to the race. Their conclusion, one eventually shared by the Ironman board, was that few saw Miller race because she basically didn't. She simply darted in and out of the course, cutting out large swaths of her path and keeping her fresh as could be while approaching the finish line. For this, Ironman Canada disqualified Miller from the race, along with two others she supposedly won before. This left Davis as the winner, which she clearly had been the entire time. Miller still insists she won the race fairly, but at this point, with all the proof exposing her as a cheater, her arguments are about as legitimate as a child insisting they're not stealing cookies while their hand is in the jar. The story of
boxer
Resto isn't so much a tale of cheating as it is a one of near murderous assault. In 1983, Resto fought the undefeated Billy Collins and unexpectedly beat him senseless. After 10 rounds, Collins' face was beyond swollen and his eyes were all but shut. His father and trainer Billy Sr. cried foul after shaking Resto's hands and realizing the gloves felt thin. Sure enough, it turned out Resto's trainer Panama Lewis had removed padding from the gloves, making Resto's punches stronger than they had any right to be. The New York State Boxing Commission concluded Resto knew the gloves were tampered with and suspended him for a year. Worse for Resto, he and Lewis actually went on trial for felonious assault, since getting punched out with illegal gloves was not what Collins signed up for. Found guilty, Resto served 2.5 years in prison. Over 20 years later, in 2007, Resto finally admitted he knew the gloves were tainted.
We know you knew.
As to other cheats, like having his hand wraps soaked in plaster, basically turning his hands into rocks. He also admitted Lewis would give him water spiked with asthma medicine. This illegally increased his lung power, which came in handy late in fights.
Oh, this nigga was cheating.
To catch their breath. In short, virtually everything about Resto and his career was phony. One thing that was very real and very tragic is Collins' fate. Due to eyesight damage suffered in the Resto fight, Collins had to retire. Months later, he drove drunk and crashed his car, an accident that killed him. His father maintains that Collins might have intentionally driven drunk and essentially killed himself, feeling his career and life were over because of what Resto did to him.
That's fucked up. You fucked that whole man life up.
The era of the spitball, where a pitcher would literally spit on a ball to make it curve and difficult to hit, is long dead. But that hasn't stopped pitchers from making the ball curve in different ways.
That works.
The problem is, unless their method is getting better at throwing a curveball, chances are they're doing something illegal. That's what happened to Michael Pineda in 2014. The Yankees pitcher decided the best way to handle the Red Sox was to smear pine tar on his hands and neck. He did it twice in 2 weeks, and the first time it resulted in a 4-1 Yankees win. But to viewers, it quickly became evident that he had substance on his hands. By the 5th inning, social media had talked so much about it that even the commentators brought it up. However, by the time Sox management inquired about it, Pineda had wiped his hands clean, and so no punishment could be doled out. When asked about it afterward, he dismissed charges of pine tar cheating with, "It's just dirt, nothing to see here." A couple weeks later, also against the Sox, Pineda used his so-called dirt again, except this time the umpires knew to look for it. They caught him using it in just the 2nd inning, and threw him out of the game. He later received a lengthy 10-game suspension for his troubles. Amazingly,
they thought he was gonna get away with that on his neck. What he was doing, going like this?
He did it so flagrantly. Several players defended Pineda, saying up to 90% of pitchers use pine tar, rosin, sunscreen, and
so y'all snitching
to help grip the ball better on children.
So the Yankees snitching.
Cheating, but they did consider Pineda's flaunting of the stuff to be fairly stupid.
Dwight Howard cheated?
When athletes get caught cheating, there's several routes they can take. They can admit to it and apologize, they can deny it, or they can even ignore it. The NBA's Dwight Howard took a novel approach to being exposed as a cheater. He admitted to doing it all the time, insisted it was no big deal, and acted like being called a cheater was just ridiculous. In March 2016, Howard's Houston Rockets were playing the Atlanta Hawks. Shortly after Howard made a layup, the Hawks' Paul Millsap went for a couple free throws. But while doing so, he noticed the ball felt stickier than he'd ever felt it before. He handed it to the referee, who brought it over to the scorer's table. There, he discovered a tape-covered can of what turned out to be stickum, an adhesive that many athletes used in the 1970s to help grip the ball easier. However, it's been banned for a long time now, meaning Dwight Howard was using an illegal substance to cheat, somehow. Nobody really knows how a sticky basketball makes it easier to win, since Howard still had to handle the ball himself.
And then Dwight Howard, man,
this was no big deal. As he told the Houston Chronicle,
just put stick him on the basketball, you big cheating ass nigga.
I don't know why people are making a big deal out of it.
What?
Every game, it's not a big deal. Yes, Dwight Howard defended himself against charges of cheating by admitting he cheated, admitting he had done so for years, and challenging anyone to care about it. The NBA apparently did not, electing not to punish Howard in the least. Maybe they were so taken aback by his brazenness, they decided to just give him this one.
He was cheating.
Thanks to Lance Armstrong, the sport of bike racing
they fucked up.
With cheaters.
They put Dwight Howard twice.
Ruling, it's extremely difficult to succeed at it without routine rule breaking. But it's not all doping like Armstrong. Sometimes, like with Vincenzo Nibali, it's as simple a matter as grabbing hold of a vehicle and letting it move you instead of doing the work yourself. In 2015, Nibali, a former Tour de France champion, competed in the Vuelta a España, a Spanish bike race. At one point, he found himself involved in a crash, and as a result, he was far behind the rest of the pack. Rather than simply bike harder, he and his team employed a technique known as the sticky bottle. Basically, a rider will gain a brief advantage by having his team drive up to him to give him a bottle of water. In the few seconds both the driver and cyclist are holding the bottle, the car drifts the cyclist along without having to do anything. That's more or less allowed, if not really endorsed by the rules. However, Nibali's version of the sticky bottle was so blatant, officials simply couldn't look the other way. He grabbed hold of the car itself, which then zoomed him all the way up to the other cyclists. This extended free ride was simply too much.
Holy
too unacceptable to Vuelta.
Bro, you holding it for hella long.
Nibali and sent him packing. To make things more embarrassing for Nibali, he didn't even win as a result of his cheating.
You didn't even win?
He lost contact yet again.
Oh, wow.
He finished 31st out of the roughly 160
How you cheat but don't win?
Punished for a cheat that didn't really help you much is a good definition of a bad day.
Nigga cheated but didn't win. Holy fuck. Alright, y'all. That's the end of the video. Hope y'all like this video. If y'all like this video, hit that like button, comment, subscribe. Hey, and don't forget to check out my live streams. You know, I live stream the games. You know, so you can go check out my other live streams while I live stream the other ones. We have some good discussions going over there. Don't forget to check them out. Hit that like button, comment, subscribe. We out.